Welcome,
Woo!
welcome to the Blame It on the Boogie podcast. We missed y'all. We
Welcome back.
missed y'all. Hey, but
back at it like a crack addict.
like everything, life happens. We had to step away for a couple of weeks, but we back, y'all. We back and better than ever.
Hopefully, we didn't lose too many of y'all.
Mhm.
Hopefully, we get you back.
So this is my theme song for y'all for right now. Welcome back, baby. To episode number 24. This is our Kobe episode. 24, the Black Mamba.
Actually, I would like to clarify that was Ken Griffey Jr.'s number.
Wow.
But also, before any of them, it was my number. That was my baseball number. Was 24. So just so you know.
All right, you starting to sound like Rod in his tennis match.
I got the two East Side. Hey, I got the two East Side jerseys to prove it. Brown, 24.
All right, D just messed up the whole
little
groove. Talking about some Brown 24. It's the Kobe episode. Shout out to Kobe.
It's the Brown 24 episode.
Hey, but we want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to tune in. We know we've been gone for a minute, but we are back and better than ever.
Yeah.
And we will continue to bring you breaking news and our thoughts on all things sports each and every week. As always, we're going to do our little shout out, give our little roll call. We have Antoine DOOZE Williams from Florissant, Missouri. We have Dorian, the Wonder Mouse Brown, that's no longer from Richmond, California. He's going to have to change that.
Guess where he ain't, and guess where he is.
He's going to have to change that. He back in the boogie. Close to it, but
in the boogie.
And, of course, you got me, Rod D, right here from the Detroit, Michigan. And if you know, we usually start everything off with our recap. D, what recap us?
Man, I don't know. That was like
recap. That's the recap, y'all. We don't know.
Yeah, we 50. We don't
know what we talked about a month ago.
Yeah, we don't know what happened a month ago.
Man, my brain is so out of here. I don't remember anything to recap anything. All I can say is I'm glad to be back. It's been too long. It's been too much stuff going on. And I'm just glad to be back on here with my friends, getting the chance to do what we like to do, is talk sports. So exactly. I'll recap next week. I'll recap this week next week, but ain't no way I'm gonna even try to recap what we talked about.
We can remember at a week at a time, you know.
Yeah,
we can't go 4 weeks now. We can't remember that.
Once you get to a certain age, it's like,
remember 3-4 minutes ago.
Yeah,
out of sight, out of mind.
Hey, but hey, I will tell you one thing that we did. Dorian and I participated in the Jalen Rose Academy golf tournament. Shout out to Jalen.
That's what I'm talking about. Do.
That's beside the point. We participated. That's our
point. Is just that y'all did. Y'all did.
What's important is that we played for a cause. For what Jalen does with his school is great out there in the D. So we're just happy to be able to participate. To have been invited to participate. What up to T? Shout out to my boy Talmadge. Also, shout out to our new friend Tariq. Y'all be hearing from him again. Coach Tariq, I should say. But man,
Tariq.
we just happy to be there and to get a chance to meet people and to hobnob and to talk noise.
Yeah, golfing don't count.
I showed them how the East St. Louis boys play that golf, boy. They.
Oh yeah, terribly. Yeah, terribly. We play terribly.
So now what we do, we play the correct way. We don't cheat, because it was some negative 88s on the golf course. I don't know how you get a negative 88. You 88
you shots for it.
But so our score was a true score. It was a legit score.
A legit score.
And we proud of that score.
Was it truly bad?
No, it was like 3 under or something. What, we 3 under, 4 under or something?
I mean, it wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was legit though.
I gotta give a shout out to our boys because they become our boys now because they would know us if they saw us. Shout out to Jimmy King. Shout out to Anderson Hunt. If they saw us somewhere, they would literally know who we were. So
And
I gotta give a shout out. They are our boys now. So shout out to Jimmy and shout out to Anderson.
To my nemesis Jacoby. Yeah. Yeah.
He on Fox now, right?
And he's on Fox now. Congrats, Jacoby. Congrats, Jacoby.
Yeah,
I'll see you next year. We'll fuss about it again. But today we're gonna get back to doing what we like to do. Like he said, we're gonna talk a little thing about sports. We're gonna start off today with our girl, Coco Golf.
We know we late.
But yes, we are late, but we still gonna talk about her because we have to give her shouts, give her praise, give her flowers. Coco Golf won her first U.S. Open.
Yes, first,
the youngest American to win since was it Serena or Venus?
Serena.
It was Serena. Okay.
Yep. Sister GOAT.
And she did it in dramatic fashion. She had a great match to win that championship. So we want to give a shout out to Coco. What was it? 3 sets?
Yeah, definitely 3. Yeah, she won 3 sets. Yeah.
1 of the 3 sets.
Yeah.
So shout out to Coco. Again, we just want to give you your congrats. You're gonna be a hashtag on this thing. Yeah, I said it right. You're gonna be a hashtag on here. So maybe when she sees it and sees her name trending from our wonderful show, she'll give us a call in and come join us.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, we invite
all. At least send us an email.
we invite everybody to come join us. Yeah, you can send us an email right here. Blame it on the boogie. boogieblaming@gmail.com.
That's right.
I hate that.
Hey, tell her call us what you want to. Just call us.
Just call us. Right.
Just call us. But congrats again to her. More congratulations goes out to. I pushed the button, y'all. Bam. There you go.
His fingers don't
the
work.
U.S. men and women 4x100 relay teams. They won the world championship. Doran, how well did your girl Shikari do?
Well, she anchored the final of the 4x1, and again, I don't want to, first of all, before we, just talk about Sha'Carri Richardson. It was Sha'Carri Richardson, it was Gabby Thomas. There were other women other than Sha'Carri Richardson, that won the 4x1. I think that
there had to be at least 4, right?
Yeah. But for me,
my math even works up to that level.
Right. I
didn't want to overshadow, any of their accomplishments or whatever by saying, the U.S. women and then jump right into Sha'Carri Richardson. But I'm really, from what I've seen, I'm really happy for her. You can tell she's focused. You can tell she's in shape. And that she is out there really making a name for herself, and again, that whole idea that I've talked about before, redemption.
It's nothing like a great redemption story.
Exactly. With people getting the opportunity to redeem themselves. And I'm so glad that she's had the opportunity to redeem herself and put herself now back up. When you talk about, the top women sprinters, you have to talk about Sha'Carri Richardson in the 100 and in the 200. So hey, I'm just, like I said, I'm just happy for her, but I didn't want to overshadow, the men and the women winning by just going directly to Sha'Carri Richardson. So, but anyway,
well, it is wonderful to see, because the last time we talked about her wasn't in a good light. When we first started, she went through, her personal issues, blah, blah, blah. We ain't gonna get into that, but she is focused. She's very focused, and you can tell by the way she runs now.
You can see it in her face.
She's definitely in much better shape than she was when she lost during the trials or what have you.
Oh yeah, so, like I said, it's always great to a great redemption story. You can't beat that. And right. She's focused and determined. She could have laid down and pulled up the 10 or whatever and gave up, but she stuck to her guns, and I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So congrats to her and the complete all 4 of them, D, from the U.S. women's team and the 4 men from the U.S. men's team for their victory at the World Championship.
4.
Now, speaking of redemption, we're gonna talk a little baseball because my Cardinals need to redeem themselves next year.
No, we can't be redeemed at this point.
Oh no, redemption is over for us this year because we in dead last. Dead last, as Mr. Banks used to say. Dead last.
Dead. But naked last.
We didn't have to play a game this year to come in last.
We definitely have to redeem ourselves next year.
But this year, record. Oakland didn't even win. The A's didn't even win 50 games.
But I mean, they still got time. The season, they still got a couple more days. They're gonna hit that 50.
Boy, the Bash brothers are rolling over in their grave.
They're gonna hit that 50. But it is the final week of the baseball season. Teams are jockeying for position right now. The division winners are pretty much set. You got the Atlanta Braves. We're doing the National League. Atlanta Braves with a 13-game lead over Philadelphia. You got Milwaukee Brewers with a 7-game lead over Chicago, and the Los Angeles Dodgers with a 13.5-game lead over Arizona Diamondbacks. In the American League, you have Baltimore with a 2.5-game lead over the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Tampa Bay Rays. So that one's not over yet, but the one in Minnesota Central is Minnesota Twins.
The Twins got a 10-game lead
over Cleveland and the Tigers, but both of those teams are 10 games under 500. Then you have the Rangers, who still that hasn't been determined yet either because they only have a 2.5-game lead over the Astros. But this year,
games left, 2.5 games, 5 games.
Yeah, so there's still a chance. But now there's a chance. Instead of one wild card team, now there's like 3 wild card teams. And in the American League, Tampa, who is 10.5 games behind, they have a 10.5-game lead over Toronto, who has a 1-game lead over Houston for the 3 wild card spots. But you still have Seattle, which is only a half game back at Houston. So they still have a little jockeying to go right there to see who makes that 3rd wild card spot. Actually 2nd and 3rd wild card spot. It's a little bit more. Philadelphia has a 7-game lead in the National League.
Yeah, it's really between the Cubs and the
Arizona
Reds.
with a 2-game lead. But then you have the Marlins, the Cubs, the Reds. And you can't even count the Padres because they're 4 games back or 5 they play, so they're not. They're out, but not really.
Yes, you can. You can count them out. You can count them out like
new battle between the Marlins and the Cubs. They're tied for that last wild card spot. Trying to see who they play the last week of the season, and they are playing the Mets. They're at the Mets. So, and then the Cubs are
left to play. I don't know if they would have to lose. Well, obviously the Reds, we'd have to win out, and then they basically have to lose. What they've got 4 games left. They would have to lose 3. They would have to lose 3 out of the next 4. And we have 2 games down.
Your Reds are 2 games back of the Cubs and the Marlins in the loss column.
Right,
and that's what you got to look at. So you need the Marlins and the Cubs to lose 2 more games, and y'all win out. And if that happens, D will be unsufferable because his team
it's 4 games left, so we still need them. We can't tie.
We need a lot of help
because I think the Cubs have the tiebreaker over us. So we need them to lose out of the next 4. We need them to lose 3. We need to win all 3, but we need the Marlins and the Cubs to lose 3 out of 4, which is probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But hey, wonders never cease. Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things.
The Cowboys lost to the Cardinals, man. Come on.
Well, we are talking about the Cowboys, you know.
Right. That wasn't strange.
That was strange, man. That was strange.
They lose every year.
But we ain't talking about football right now. We're talking about baseball.
Yeah.
But
I don't know who brought the Cowboys up. I don't know.
We ain't gonna talk about that. But the interesting thing about this year,
the Cowboys up.
The interesting thing about this year in the baseball season is that for the first time in a long time, the Yankees won't even be close to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
They're nowhere, and I don't know if they still have the highest payroll, but one of the highest payrolls in baseball.
But they always gonna have one of the highest payrolls because they're Yankees.
Well, let's just see. The Mets have the highest payroll in baseball by a lot. Ooh, wow. The Mets have a $353 million payroll. Did I read that right? Hold on, let me go back. Yeah, the Mets have a $353 million payroll. And they are, notice I didn't mention the Mets when I was talking about the playoffs because they are 72 and 86. Tell you how bad they are. They're only 3 games up on my Cardinals. So yeah, the Mets didn't spend their money pretty efficiently. And then of course the Yankees, who are a distant second, but they're still second in payroll with $277 million. So, which shows you that, just because you have the highest payroll don't mean you're going to win the World Series.
Jack.
Your money can't buy you a championship.
Right.
It helps, though.
It does help, though.
Right. It gets you close.
It definitely does help.
Yeah, it helps.
It definitely does help. But I do have to give my Cardinals credit. They're not the last team. They're last in our division. We're last in our division by a lot. But D is right. The Oakland Athletics, his former hometown team, only has 48 wins on the season with a negative 336 run differential. That is absolutely horrible.
Maguire and Jose Canseco are rolling over in their graves,
man,
collectively and separately right now.
Collectively and separately. But one of the things another baseball subject, one of the things that I noticed, one of the headlines from earlier was about the Los Angeles Angels and all of the injuries that they had, starting with
Mike Trout,
the greatest player, Mike Trout. Mike Trout, man, I don't think Mike Trout has played a full season in about 5 years.
Right.
He is matter of fact, let me pull up his stats. But when he plays, man, that's the thing. When he plays, he's one of the best.
He's one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
One of the best center fielders ever.
To ever play the game.
He cannot stay healthy.
That just goes to show you how this is such a "what have you done for me lately" type business. Because people talk about Mike Trout now as if this dude hadn't won 2-3 MVPs and hadn't already. And every year he didn't win the MVP, he was like second for how many years? I mean, but because he's been injury plagued the last couple of seasons, now all of a sudden it's almost like people forget that. I'm like, come on, this dude is one of the best center fielders ever. So.
But here's the problem. All right, so in 2019 he played in 134 games. That's not bad. 134 out of 162. That's not bad. 20. He only played in 53 games. But again, you have to forgive that season also because that was COVID year. 21, they had a full season. He only played in 36 games. Last year, he did play in 119 games, so which is respectable. He batted 283 with 40 home runs. A typical Mike Trout season. Just great. 6.3 WAR, which is just great. But then this year, he only played in half the games, 82. It's never the same ailment. That's the thing. It's never the same ailment. He has all just different ailments. And the problem is ever since he signed that big, huge 15-year contract, which makes it worse. And again, you can't when you talk about people money, other than DeAndre Ayton, because he stole money. When you talk about people's money, it's difficult because they're being paid for their talents. They're paid, and they're deserving of being paid, the contracts that they have. However, in baseball, because you do have guaranteed contracts, and he gave him such a long contract, that contract's not looking good, which is the reason why they only have 54 wins. I said, how many wins do they have? Hold on, let me get to that standings. The Angels are at 71 wins. They have 71 wins, but they're 17 and a half games back in their own division, which brings us to the next part for them. Shohei Ohtani got hurt this year at the end of the season. They shut him down. And when they did, for the first time, there's a possibility that Shohei may have played his last game with the Angels because he removed all of his stuff out of his locker. And if our wonderful...
That's a good sign.
Our wonderful subscribers, our followers, remember when we talked about this back during the trade deadline, I was against the Angels not trading him because one, they weren't going anywhere. They were, it was going to take a miracle for them to make the playoffs. But two, now they're going to lose him and not get anything back. Well, possibly lose him. And I'm pretty sure, when you take all your stuff out the locker, you probably don't.
You don't plan on coming back.
Yeah, you probably don't have intention of coming back. And the season's not even over yet. Yes, you hurt, but the season's not over yet. So, Doran, you still think they made the right decision by not trading him?
Yes, I still think they made the right decision by not trading him. Because
you just
again, at the time, there was still the chance that he could that they would make the playoffs, and at that time he was not injured. So,
with the information we had at that time,
yeah, I mean, and so no, I would not have traded him, because if you trade him, you definitely are not getting him back.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were trying to keep him, the best choice was to keep him and say, okay, hey, let's hope at some point Mike Trout can get healthy. That just never happened. Let's hope that Mike Trout can get healthy, and and we can make the playoffs, and then that we got a better chance of keeping Shohei that way than trading him somewhere and hoping that we can get him back. No, because at that point he's going to be looking at the team, especially if they trade him and then they don't make the playoffs. Well, how are you going to get him to come back to a team that didn't make the playoffs? If that's what he's trying to do, if that's what he wants to do is win, then you're not going to get him. You can't trade him away and then not make the playoffs and then expect him to come back. No. So yeah, I still believe that the best move was not to trade him.
So I understand your point, and which is the way they went, right? But my point in the whole thing is what's happening right now. You had the opportunity to trade him and get a
look, Miss Cleo. Okay, look, Miss Cleo, you act like you knew this was gonna happen.
No.
Well,
I knew they were gonna make the playoffs.
Talking about is the information we have now.
Yeah, we were provided at the time.
Information in.
No.
And we're not the best. Was it prognosticators?
And I said this at that time. The chances are very slim for them making the playoffs because they still have no pitching. Their pitchers are worse than the Cardinals.
Without him, you have no chance of making the playoffs.
That's true.
I'd rather have a slim chance than no chance.
But the thing, if you're looking at the long-term viability of your team, now you don't have Shohei. You're not going to have Shohei, and you don't have all the assets that you could have gotten by trading him. So you put your whole franchise
back. Are you in
back.
this business to win? Are you in this business? Do you own a team to win?
Yes, you do. And to win, your best chance of winning.
Trying to win.
Again, your best chance of winning.
Not trading him gave me my best chance to win. That's what I'm trying to do.
I
didn't know that. I didn't know that then. I didn't know that.
No. Yes, you did.
I took the chance and it didn't work. No, I did not.
You still, bro. You were under 500 when this went down in the first place. You knew you weren't gonna make the playoffs.
But I still had the opportunity to make the playoffs, and I have a better chance of making the playoffs with him than I do without him. And if my whole point is to keep him, then keep him. Don't let him go and then hope he comes back. Baseball ain't love. If you love something, let it go, and if it'll come back. No, sports ain't like that.
Because they definitely wouldn't have got equal value.
Yeah, once he's gone, he's gone. Once he's gone, he's gone. But again, the problem is
we sucked before. We can suck again until we find somebody that can play.
But you could have had a head start on that rebuild by getting the 15 players that you would have gotten by trading him to I don't know, Houston.
And what's the chance? What's the chances that they all of a sudden, because I get these 15 extra players now, all of a sudden I'm gonna be good when I'm gonna get 15 Shohei Ohtanis?
Hey,
how many Shohei Ohtanis am I gonna get out of that 15? Probably none. So it's a better chance. I got a better chance of keeping him than worrying about them 15 draft picks that I know absolutely nothing about. I know what I got with this dude.
Well, you don't have to do no more. So,
well, hey, that's the chance I gambled. That's the chance that I took.
It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
Got to do it if you want to win.
Yeah, but that's the point. They wasn't winning anyway. They weren't gonna win. They weren't gonna win.
But they wanted to win.
Their front office, yeah, they wanted to win. But their front office gave all that money to the third baseman. That is absolutely horrible. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is.
I don't care. That's the chance they took.
So hey, it just gives my Cardinals a chance to get Shohei. So let's make it happen. Y'all hear me out there? Y'all hear me?
Now you know that's now you know.
Mosliak.
Mosliak
will never do that.
No Shohei Ohtani.
Mosliak will never do that.
You know Mosliak is not about to pay for no Shohei Ohtani.
Hey, can't blame a brother for wanting. Hey, speaking of wanting, I wanted some more suspension for this stupid Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh. I
don't care.
Well, he disciplined himself, so.
Yes, you do. So again, recapping the previous story from earlier in the year, from one of our previous episodes, Jim Harbaugh was suspended by the NCAA for rules violations, and they gave him a 4-game suspension. Well, that's what they were going to give him, was a 4-game suspension. And then they decided, NCAA being stupid as they are, that they weren't going to give him a 4-game suspension and was probably going to give him more. But they really didn't have a leg to stand on. So Harbaugh and University of Michigan, in an effort to try to appease the NCAA, because Harbaugh was going to take him to court and they never were going to get this thing to go through. But he agreed to a 3-game suspension. So NCAA was going to give him 4. He was going to accept that. But then when they decided they weren't going to go with what they agreed on, Harbaugh thumbed his nose at him again and said he wasn't going to do it. But then they came back and said, all right, we'll give you 3 games. But the 3 games were against 3 teams from directional schools. A team that Michigan had no chance of even attempting to lose to. So what was even the point of Harbaugh getting a 3-game vacation? He should, in my opinion, he should have been suspended for like conference games. If you're gonna do something, you wanted to actually hurt somebody, no, let it hurt somebody. Like give somebody a $50 speeding ticket. Okay. But if you give me a $500 speeding ticket, I'm gonna slow my blood down. So D, I know your feelings for the University of Michigan.
Man, I was trying to find that song. I don't care. that was the song I'm looking up on my phone. I don't care about Michigan. I don't care if he ever coaches a game at Michigan again. I don't care if they ever win a game again. Muck Michigan. I don't care. So what?
D, all the hostility.
Yes.
You got a lot on your chest.
From deep down in my soul.
Oh, what's the other saying? You're quite hostile.
I got a right to be hostile, man. My football team's being persecuted.
Okay, well, if you don't care about Jim Harbaugh, that's cool.
No.
But here in Michigan, they cared about Jim Harbaugh, and I'm letting everybody know in Michigan that Harbaugh should have been suspended for at least 6 games. Get that man 3 games during the conference, also. But that's neither here nor there.
Is that like the equivalent of El Chapo building his own prison? and putting himself in his own prison.
My own prison with flat screen TVs and chefs.
Have a couple ladies come through, you know.
What kind of suspension? This man was out. He was coaching his kids' high school football team, so he got to spend 3 extra weeks with his kids. Isn't he upset? No. So what was the point? But another coach staying with the Big Ten and even staying in the state of Michigan,
the great state of Michigan.
Yes, was one Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker.
Why, Lord?
Okay.
Why?
So here's the situation with Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker has been fired by the Michigan State University as a head football coach. 2 years ago, Mel Tucker signed a 10-year, $85 million contract.
$85 million contract
to coach the Sparties. And since he signed that contract, State has, let's just say, not done as well as they did before he got his contract. So there's a little animosity at the university in that regards. They, were upset that they weren't getting the value out of this contract. Now, our former host, Mr. Dante Nash, shout out to little Dante, was the conspiracy theory person on this panel. He had a conspiracy for everything. Well, in this one, I think there is a conspiracy going on because Brother Mel got fired because of a relationship he had with a young lady. It was a personal relationship, one that lasted, a year or so. And somewhere along the line, Mel and what you gonna say, Lil Mel came out to play. So, and the young lady, I guess took offense to Lil Mel coming out to play. She didn't want to watch Lil Mel play.
Oh, he was sending pictures?
No, they were on a phone call.
Footage. Yeah, it was actually
they were on a phone call, and Big Mel and Lil Mel was playing together. So, she got a little.
Big Mel was giving Little Mel a spanking.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
The man was a bad boy, man. Little man was a bad boy. And he was letting her know that little Mel was a bad boy. So, needed to be punished. So, stuff happens. Stuff happens.
Dear brother Noopsy, I should be punished.
But anyway, on a serious note, so the young lady, took offense to that. But here's where it gets a little dicey. And this is where I say the conspiracy comes in. She didn't report this to anybody for like 6 months. Right now, her and Mel had this. They had a relationship. Problem is, Mel was married, so that was an issue. And she reported this situation to the university last November, right? Well, university didn't bring this out until August, right? And again, where the conspiracy comes from, there's a lot of people like I said, people around the program that were upset that Mel lost 2 straight years to the other dude that Doran don't like, Jim Harbaugh. They had a much worse record than they suspected. The recruiting wasn't going along right. Coaches were leaving. Players were unhappy. So they didn't think they were getting the benefits that they were expecting by giving this man all his money. So now all of a sudden,
going to the football playoff.
Exactly. So now all of a sudden, you get this thing, and some people within the university, again, this is just I had no proof, but it makes sense this way. People in the university saw this as an opportunity to get rid of Mel Tucker, because now they're using this as a way to fire him with cause. And for those that don't know, with cause means I'm gonna fire you and I'm not gonna give you your money.
And I'm not gonna pay you. Right.
I'm not gonna pay you. Now, if it isn't true, again, Mel Tucker's position is this is a two consenting adults that were had a relationship. Yes, he was married. He was, for his family, yes, it was horrible. But these are two consenting adults that did not. Now, she did do a presentation to the university, to his players, but she didn't work for the university. So it's not like the Udoka situation, dudes, where it was someone that was under him, literally, that he had his relationship with. This is someone that didn't have a relationship with the university. So you can't use that as an excuse. But what they're going to say is, sexual harassment. Morality. Yeah, sexual harassment is what they're claiming. But how can it be sexual harassment if it was 2 consenting adults? And again, that's Mel Tucker's position. So Dorian, at what point? Okay, let's go there. So when an accusation is presented, right? Should you immediately ostracize that person and cast him out, or should you at least give him an opportunity to express his side of the story and get the details before you go out and ruin a whole man's career or what have you?
I mean, my personal belief has always been, let everything play out first.
Mm-hmm.
Every person deserves every person has the right to defend themselves. And I often think that people, well, unfortunately, it's about news. It's about people wanting to get the scoop and wanting to be the first to report stuff and so on and so forth. And so you always have this from the very beginning. You always have this outrage that comes from just the knowledge, because they assume that the person is guilty from the very beginning. As soon as there are any sort of accusations, then all of a sudden that's when everything, all of the criticism starts getting hurled out at the person, and people start lashing out and all this kind of stuff that we start to see happen. And more often than not, they do this before all of the facts have come in. So I believe that I believe that, you know, no one should be fired, no one should, you know, lose their jobs, any of these kinds of things, until all of the facts have come out and that person has, quote, had their day in court, so to speak. I've always believed that. So I hate these, you know, jumping to conclusions and wanting to fire people off the bat and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I hate that because even if the majority of the time you're right, okay, but those times that you're wrong, well, you've ruined somebody's life. You completely ruined somebody's life. So I would rather, for whether you're right or however it turns out, for all of the facts to come out in a case first.
So here's my problem. Here's my problem with this. All right, like I said, I mentioned it. This came back last November, right? So you knew about the university knew about this accusation last November, right? But you let him go through spring practices, the whole summer for training camp, get the team prepared, get ready for their first game, and then you bring this stuff out. If you knew about this all that time, and if it was you're supposed to be doing your investigation, if you uncovered stuff during that time, wouldn't it have been better for you to say, hey, listen, you need to take a leave of absence while we continue to investigate this stuff, you know, and once we get the stuff, you know, once we get more information, we'll come back to you. Why, if it was such, again, sexual assault, why are you letting him still coach the team? What was your reason for allowing him to still coach the team?
Yeah, I think both of you are right. Unfortunately, you know, we are in the generation of the cancel culture. And, you know, like Rodney said, it could have been a plan to, you know, get rid of him. And then, of course, using the cancel culture generation that we're currently under, you know, definitely the public outcry was going to be so great that, and they
Right.
knew this, that, you know, the public outcry was going to be so great that you couldn't keep him. And so that was, and, you know, they had their excuse.
So here's the thing.
And it's unfortunate, like you said, because, you know, the facts haven't even came out, but, you know, in this current cancel culture regime we're under, it is what it is.
So here's the thing. Someone had to release this information because, again, the information about Lil Mel, that was leaked out there.
So is it Mel and Melvin?
That was leaked out there. You know, Tucker didn't leak it, right? The defendant, I mean not defendant, the plaintiff, the one that's making the claim, she said she didn't put it out there. So
maybe little Melly Mel, maybe Melly Mel released the information.
He's trying to let y'all know he's coming out.
He released something else there. He released something else. He got
a new mixtape
release.
But again, the conspiracy theory part says that they put this information out there because, again, there was never any physical contact or anything like that, right? And if, you know, if someone feels that they've been sexually assaulted, by all means, you know, go through the process, do what you have to do. If he's guilty, he's guilty. You know, put him in the jail, do whatever you got to do. But as Dee said, you know, if this did not happen, and I'm not saying it didn't happen, but if it didn't happen, by the possibility that it did not happen, this man, his career has forever been ruined. Who's gonna hire the man that plays with Lil Mel?
His family name has been tarnished, you know, due to little Melly Mel's release.
Right.
Yeah. So who's gonna hire him and Lil Mel? Nobody. Because you're gonna always have this out there. They're gonna laugh at this man every time he come into an interview. Yeah. You know, how Lil Mel doing today? I don't know. Whatever. I don't know who's gonna be asking about Lil Mel, but I'm just saying.
Maybe
but his career.
Let me stop.
His career is forever tarnished.
How do we get caught up in these conversations? And then with our sense of humor, it could go left quick.
It could go left quick, right?
Hey, dude, he was pooking himself.
A self-pluke.
He's a self-pluker. He's a self-pluker.
He was on camera taking plukies.
Issues, man. Issues. Okay, quick.
We gonna do this
forever, y'all. we gonna quick. Let's talk about another
his latest release.
Oh man.
Wow.
Melly Mel and the Furious Five.
And what was the song? Beach Street.
That hurt me. Oh,
I'm on the road tonight. Let me take my hat off.
Beat Street, the king of the beat.
Y'all, we ain't been here in a while. We just having fun.
He was on camera to my
Beach Street.
The king of the beat.
King of the beat.
See me rocking that beat from across the street.
Oh Lord. Oh, y'all got me. Y'all got me. Wow. Okay.
Lord, wow.
Okay, can we move? Can we move
Move
on?
right along.
Let's move on, y'all. All right, Mel, let me hide you, Mel.
Maybe that was his co-host. Melly Mel was his co-host. Let me stop before I spit this juice out.
Stop it. Oh, all right. We gonna move on, y'all. We gonna move on.
I was closer to you in Michigan.
Whew. Oh man, hey, all right. The next subject, we gonna stay in coaching. But the number one story in college football
In sports.
for the last 4 weeks really, is the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Deion Sanders.
Prime.
We call him Coach Prime.
Coach
Prime. They started the season off like gangbangers. What it was the first?
You mean you mean like gangbusters?
He's from East St. Louis, y'all.
he done called the team gangbangers.
Hey,
we done with Mel, right?
Yeah, we were from self-pluking to gangbangers.
Hey man, I'm still thinking about Mel Tucker. But Coach Prime,
oh my God.
Coach Prime.
What a welcome back episode.
How do you recover from that one?
Y'all funny, man. Coach Prime had his Buffaloes rolling.
Banging.
They was banging out wins. Oh, y'all got me all flustered, man. I gotta find the records. I know the first game they played was against TCU.
TCU and beat TCU.
And
TCU.
In TCU. Mm-hmm. And they came out with a super victory I can't even find a stupid score, man. Y'all got me so flustered.
It was 40, what if 40
42 to 35 or something.
42-37, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were a huge 21-point underdog, and they won the game. Where they at? What did you say? 42? What?
Were they like 42-37 or 41-37, something like that?
Well, if ESPN would tell me, I'll let y'all know. Oh, was it week 1 or week 2? It was week 1. It was
45 to 42. 45, 42.
45, okay.
45, 42.
Because
because
they gave up 42 twice. Well, once.
That's what started all of the hype with Colorado.
Yeah, twice.
I heard the stat yesterday that this is the third week of the season, and through the first 3 weeks of the season, Colorado has the 3 highest rated games on TV.
That's crazy. Hold on.
So he came away after the Colorado game. He came back the next week, and they played University of Nebraska. And Dion and Shador. You said what?
I said they beat the brakes off the University of Nebraska.
36-14. And Nebraska, them 14 points, it should have been much worse than that. But it was 36-14. Then they came back the third week and played an in-state rival in Colorado State. And Colorado State had a good game plan, and they had them for 3 quarters and 13 minutes.
Stupid stuff at the end.
Mm-hmm. And started doing stupid stuff at the end and allowed Colorado to come back and win that game 43-35. But then came week 4.
Is my camera blurred to y'all? Okay, there it is.
And in week 4, Colorado again, a 21-point underdog, just like they were in the first game of the season. Unfortunately, didn't quite do as well as they did the first 3 weeks. University of Oregon, the future Big Ten team, won the game 42-6. And just like that Nebraska game, the 36-14 game wasn't that close. The Oregon game at 42-6 wasn't that close.
Wasn't that close.
Wasn't that close. However, yes, they lost that game, and I don't think anyone really expected them to win that game. But what it did do, it showed how teams are approaching Dion and his Buffalo's team. How coaches are going at Dion each and every week because they don't like the way that he runs his team. They don't like the way he built his team. He's doing things unconventional. He's doing things that the players actually absolutely love. They love playing for Coach. Well, most of them love playing for Coach Prime. But he's doing things to try to teach them what it's like at the next level. To show them that, all the things you have to do in order to get to that next level. And if you can't do it, the thing that Prime is doing that the other coaches are mad about, he went out and got players that he felt could do it. And that's the part that they don't like. So, Dorian, Coach Prime, do you think that let me put it this way. Do you feel that Dion is one of the most influential coaches in college football right now?
Yeah, no question. I think that it started when he got to Jackson State. If you just look at the fact that everything has become about Coach Prime. Mm-hmm. you know, and again, this is not something that just started when he got to Colorado. And he was at Jackson, and that's the thing about the other coaches is that, see, all of that stuff was fine at Jackson State. All of that stuff was fine at the HBCUs, but see, what they thought was that's not going to work at the Division I level. That's not going to work at our level. At our level, you're going to have to come in and do such and such and such. And he came and he's doing it his way, and it's working. And he's getting players to want to come to Colorado and play. Now, I didn't expect them to beat TCU. I sure as hell didn't. I know I didn't expect them to beat Oregon, but after they won, they beat TCU. I thought that they ranked them too early, because I think me and Rodney, me and you were talking about this, and I said, oh, if they win next week, they're gonna be ranked in the top 20. But they ranked them in the top 20 after they beat. They ranked them 22nd after they beat TCU, and then they beat Nebraska, and then they were ranked 20th. And then after they beat Colorado, then they went up to 18th and 19th. But I never thought that they were going to beat Oregon. I thought because I think that Oregon already has a program. Colorado doesn't have a program yet. You know what I'm saying? You really gonna have to wait about 2 or 3 more recruiting cycles before you can really judge.
Yeah, it's under construction right now.
Right. It's under construction. He just happened to catch lightning in the bottle because you beat the TCU team, but then you played 2 terrible teams after that. And
Nebraska was terrible. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You said what?
I said, and Nebraska was terrible, but go ahead.
Oh, Nebraska was terrible. But for me, when I watched them play, and especially when they played Colorado State, this really came out when they played Colorado State. They obviously got away with it against TCU, and they were just much better athletically than Nebraska. But they are too small down up front. So what you notice is when they played a program like Oregon that has players in the system that has depth. Colorado also has no depth on their offensive and defensive lines. So they couldn't they couldn't rush the passer because they don't really have anybody on defense except the Dominic kid, right? But also they on defense they couldn't stop the run. And they couldn't get a pass rush, right? And then offensive line, Shedeur was just running for his life the whole game.
Yeah.
So when Coach Prime, when they interviewed him, and he was kind of humble about it, so to speak, but he was like, when they asked him, like, do you think that you're here, or have you made it yet? He said, no. He said, we need about 7 or 8 more dogs. He said, and then we're gonna be something to be reckoned with. And that's what he was talking about. He was talking about the offensive and defensive lines, because they get no pass rush and they can't stop the run. So against Oregon, I knew that they would get. I was hoping they wouldn't get blown out, but I really kind of had a feeling they were going to get blown out in Oregon. So
the one thing I like about Deion is that Deion takes the pressure off of all of his team, his players, because
that he does.
He wants all the smoke. And it reminds me of what's his name, Mike Gundy from Ohio, from Oklahoma State.
I'm a man.
I'm a man. I'm 40. Put it on me. That's what Deion does. Deion. He it's like he welcomes all of the naysayers. Talk about me all you want to, right? But don't talk about my players, right? My players are they're doing the things that they want. Do we have the best team? No. But as he said after the game on Saturday, get me now.
Oh yeah,
get me now.
Because he definitely has something brewing down there. He has it brewing. He's drawing up more attention than that, man. I mean,
and
all the games are televised on the networks. Everybody's tuning in, and man,
You got
he's taking over.
stars, big name people coming to
Little
Boulder,
Wayne,
Colorado, to watch a football game. You know, they never had that before. So, and they're coming there because of Dion. You know, because of the excitement that he brings.
Now, sadly, we kind of saw it. We kind of saw Saturday coming because of you know, in all the games, the defense was looking, you know,
suspect,
kind of shoddy. Yeah,
against TCU, they were suspect.
Yeah, it was looking very bad. You know, they gave up 42 points twice, and then a 35-pointer. So I mean, they weren't really stopping anybody. So
they ran
into a great program, an established program, and you know, that's what happened. But like I said, it's you know, it's good in a way because you know now you get your proper assessment of where you are and you know where you need to go.
Uh-huh.
But what's going to happen is, you know, like D said it, these young players, they see what's going on in Colorado. And Dion, I would not be surprised if he had one of the top 3 recruiting classes this year.
Oh yeah,
you know, at Colorado, you know, because players want to go there.
Oh yeah, you want to get the city rappers and the entertainers and everybody.
But at the same time,
you know, the high visibility.
You get all that, but so all right. The reason that you go to college is so that you can get training for the vocation that you want to pursue, right? Mm-hmm. And most of these players want to pursue football as their vocation, you know. So who's better to tell you what you need to do to make it in the league than Deion Sanders? Yeah, you can go to Alabama down there, and you can, you know, Nick Saban can tell you some stuff, but Nick Saban never played. You know, You can go over there to Clemson, and I love the fact I hate Clemson. What's his name? What's the Clemson coach?
Dabo Swinney.
Dabo Swinney. I can't stand Dabo Swinney. Yeah, I've never liked Dabo Swinney, so I like the fact that they losing. But you can go over there to Clemson, and Dabo can get you into the league, but he can't tell you the same stuff that Deion can tell you. You know, it's very few coaches that can tell you what's going on. There's very few Hall of Fame coaches in college football.
And he could give you, like you said, a first-hand outlook on, you know, the pitfalls and the things you need to look out for, you know, as a star player, or, you know, if you're planning on going to the next level, exactly, you know, what's needed. So, like you said, I think, you know, next year's class is going to be in at least the top 5, but, you know, probably in the top 3.
At least top 5. I mean, you still gonna have, you know, it's hard to beat Georgia, and it's hard to beat Alabama, and even Ohio State. They, you know, they always somewhere in some order in the top 3. But Coach Prime gonna bust through that. He gonna bust through that wall
easy,
and he gonna get the players that he need. And in a couple years, they gonna be a beast in the Big 12. A beast in the Big
12. I think he's building something there. You know, again, I'm in total agreement with Dudes. You know that he's definitely building something there. I think that what's interesting though is that the same type of vitriol that he faced as a player because of his personality is the same thing that he's facing as a coach. But he's not. The thing about it is that I find interesting is that Deion don't never talk about nobody else. He'll tell you what he's gonna do. He'll tell you how good he is, but he doesn't talk about other people. He doesn't say other people aren't good. He never degrades or disrespects anyone else.
No, he don't badmouth the other coaches or other organizations.
All he does is tell you how good he is. Yet all these coaches come at him throwing shots. But that's something he's faced his entire playing career. That's something, you know, that he's now, and they don't like it because, again, when he was a player, he did it unconventionally. Deion was the one. Remember, he was Neon Deion, right? At first, because he came and he had on all the gold, and he
must be the money,
right? You know, right. He in the music videos doing all that kind of stuff, and they talked about him. They, the only person I've ever seen him disrespect was Tim McCarver. When he kept throwing water on Tim McCarver, right? That kind of thing. But he was mad because Tim McCarver had disrespected him. But you get these other coaches who come in and they're mad because, again, that was fine at the HBCU, but now he's coming in and he's getting more shine than I am, and this is just his first year. I've been coaching here, I don't know how many years, and he's got Aflac commercials, even though he had these commercials long before that. But he's got Aflac commercials. He's got these kind of commercials. He's got his own reality show, even though he had that long before he was even the coach at Jackson State. But still, they don't like that because they don't have it.
Exactly. And then, these corporations, who would they come to endorse them first? Dion or these other coaches?
Right.
He's a magnet. So, of course, he's going to be the first phone call.
Until Saturday, didn't nobody even know what the name of the Oregon coach was. And
I know I didn't.
I can't even tell you his name right now. Right? I have no idea what his name is. But, he did his little video show, even though he talking about, we don't play for clicks, we play for wins. Well, that's what you were doing in that press conference, in that pregame talk.
Right. Because you allowed them to do that. You specifically told them to come in and get this part of the speech. So you were doing that on purpose, right?
Yeah. So I and you right, D, they're upset because they're not doing it. They don't have the commercials because don't nobody care about you.
Yeah, and right? if all the attention is going toward Dion, and that means all the attention is coming away from somebody else.
So, right, and they feel like that hurts, and that hurts their recruiting.
At the end of the day, that's what it is, which in turn hurts their money. Everything can go back to the money, man. Everything go back to the money.
So hey, I'm happy for Coach Prime. I hope it continues. I'm sorry, but they're about to get their asses kicked again this week.
Unfortunately,
it happens.
In
sports,
USC.
It happens.
They about to take 2 ass whoopers in a row. I hope they don't. I hope not. But that's basically what's about to happen, right?
Well, and what that guy said? What that guy said on Harlem Nights? Don't take it personal. Don't take
this ass whooping personally.
Hey man, I'm looking at his
and then he started laughing.
I'm looking at and looking at Colorado schedule.
Hey, we got to get that recorded too, Rod, before I click.
So after USCD, Colorado has Arizona State.
They'll win that. They'll win.
Stanford,
they'll win that.
And then UCLA.
They're not gonna win that.
But then they got Oregon State, number 18.
They're not gonna win that. They're not gonna win
Arizona, they might win that.
Yeah, they'll beat Arizona.
But then they finish it up with Washington State, number 16.
They're not gonna win that.
And Utah, number 2.
They definitely not gonna beat Utah.
But hold up. The UCLA game, the Washington State game, and the Utah game are all on the road. So, but the thing is, and this
Lil Dion gonna get spanked.
Oh Lord!
Shut up, D.
Don't bring Melly Mel back into this.
Hey, matter of fact, since you brought up Melly Mel, dudes, the reason Michigan State, they're saying the reason that they're firing Mel Tucker is because he brought undesirable attention to the university from him and his high fives.
Because Mel Tucker came untucked.
He sure did come untucked.
So anyway.
But anyway, the thing I was saying, last year Colorado won one game. They were 1-11. So even if they go 6-6 this year, that is a huge accomplishment for Deion. Huge accomplishment. Because 6-6, you can get into a bowl game. If he makes a bowl game this year, man, bruh, he got to be in the running for coach of the year.
Yeah.
To take a team that had one win to a bowl game next year, come on. But anyway, congrats, Coach Prime. We're gonna continue to watch each and every game.
Yes, we will.
And we want you to whoop everybody that you can.
That's right.
I was gonna say
we behind you.
But Mel Tucker, I can't even say beat no more.
No, no, you can't.
Let's go. Yeah. We got a friend of the program that we always talk about.
Ron.
Hold up, man. Where my thing? Here we go.
Hey, Ron, where are you? Where is Ron right now?
Ron.
He laid up.
Ron is at home right now.
Currently in California.
He laid up with his pain pills.
He got some nice goodies. Aaron Rodgers suffered probably the worst injury possible for a football player, and to come back from, especially, and that's a torn Achilles. Not only did he suffer this torn Achilles, he suffered it on the fourth play of the first game of the season. And he suffered it at the age of 39. So he's going to have a long road back. So here's the question, D. We were talking about this earlier. Right now, Zach Wilson is the coach, is the quarterback for the New York Jets. Miraculously, they won that first game that Aaron Rodgers got hurt in on the fourth play. But it wasn't because of Zach Wilson. That was all on Buffalo turning the ball over 5 times. And still almost winning the game, but it didn't. So they just got one win. However, since that game, Zach Wilson has shown exactly what Zach Wilson is. And that's not an NFL quarterback. Just say it lightly, yeah, he sucks. But
he ain't gonna get it because he ain't got it.
You want my spot flash?
You ain't gonna get it. But anyway, Zach, everybody wants to, all the talking heads want to talk about Zach, how he's horrible. Even the great Joe Namath is coming out blasting blasting Zach Wilson. But this is the thing. Zach Wilson is playing exactly the way Zach Wilson has played since he's been in the NFL. And the coaching staff and the GM knew exactly what Zach Wilson was. So whose fault is it that the Jets have the worst quarterback in the league right now?
And he promises not to play any better in the immediate future.
Okay, so in the Jets' defense, they thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to come in. Aaron Rodgers was going to play for the next 3-4 years. Zach, what's his name? Zach Wilson. I don't know why I want to call. I don't know why I want to call him Zach Taylor. I guess because I'm a Bengals fan.
Yeah, you are.
But they assume that for the next 3 years, Zach Wilson would learn under Aaron Rodgers the way Aaron Rodgers learned under Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they would win a Super Bowl, of course, obviously with Aaron Rodgers, and then he would, ride off into the sunset, and then Zach Wilson would be a much better quarterback than he had been as a rookie or whatever when they found out he was terrible. And this is why this is very obvious to me. because if you listen to the quotes, or I shouldn't say listen to the quotes, but if you look at the quotes that have been attributed to Zach Wilson when Aaron Rodgers went down, he started talking about how he was trying to mimic. He had been trying to mimic everything that Aaron Rodgers was doing, and that was how he was going to play. He was going to mimic Aaron Rodgers. That was basically what he was saying. And so that was the plan. And so now they don't have a choice because they done paid Aaron Rodgers. They still got Zach Wilson under his rookie contract or whatever. But who they gonna trade for? What quarterback are they going to trade for? The reason that Robert Saleh said that Zach Wilson gives them the best chance to win is because they don't have no other fucking choice. He's the best chance because you have no other choice. You're not going to be able to go get another quarterback to be a quality quarterback to be able to come in and play. Who are they going to go get? Who? I'll wait.
What's my name? They play for Philly. Carson Wentz. They could have gone and got Carson. But here's the problem, though, D.
Are you gonna pay Carson Wentz? Honestly,
listen.
as bad as Carson Wentz's last couple of stints in the NFL, would you really want to have Carson Wentz in there? I'd rather go with Zach Wilson.
You got Zach Wilson, man.
Okay, compared to Carson Wentz.
I take Carson Wentz.
Let's quit acting like it ain't a reason Carson Wentz ain't on nobody's team.
You're right. Well, the main reason Carson Wentz not on the team is because people think he's gonna want way too much money. But when you ain't making no money, if they offer you $3 million,
he gonna want way too much money, and he sucks. When is Carson Wentz? He was good. He was good that his rookie year. And then he got hurt, and then what's his name ended up winning the Super Bowl, and then Carson Wentz has been terrible ever since.
Hold up, let me see Carson Wentz stats. All right, so let me get to last year. What's last year's 22? 22. All right, so in 22 he played for Washington, right? He played in 8 games last year. He had 1,755 yards. What we at? What are touchdowns? 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, with a 62% completion percentage, which is not great. They were 2-6 in his time. But here's the problem. Yes, that's horrible. But let's go to Zach Wilson. His stats. Let me give you Zach Wilson stats. All right, stats. Zach Wilson last year, 8 games, 1,688 yards, 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 54% completion percentage. So Carson is not great, but Carson's still better than Zach Wilson. But here's the problem. Again,
okay, you are trying to make it seem as if them stats that you just came out with
were great. No, they're not.
Dwarf that Carson Wentz stats just dwarf Zach Wilson.
I'm just giving you an option. You asked for somebody who's better. I'm giving you an option. I play Trevor Siemian. Who they got?
If you're gonna come up with another option, don't come up with another option that also sucks.
But listen, where the problem came back is in the off season. They pushed all the chips into the center on Aaron Rodgers, and everybody and their mom would have done the same thing. I don't blame them for that. However, that's a 39-year-old quarterback. And for you not to have a competent backup quarterback when your goal is to make it to the Super Bowl, you got to have a competent backup quarterback. What? And they didn't attempt to address that.
Okay.
They kept Zach Wilson, who you demoted to the third string last year. You demoted him to your third string quarterback last year. So what makes you think he all of a sudden he's gonna flick a switch and be this great backup quarterback?
Okay. Secondly,
go ahead.
Name me a great backup quarterback on a Super Bowl winning team.
You had the one that won for Philadelphia. I can't think of his
name. He can't name him.
What's his name? Hold on.
Exactly. That's my exact point. You can look it up. That's my point. You're making my point. You don't need a competent backup. You need for your starter not to get hurt. Name me a Super Bowl team that at any point or another, you can name probably 2 or 3 that you can name me that had to depend on the backup in order to win the Super Bowl.
I'm trying. It was for the Phillies, for Philadelphia. I can't think that dude's name. He took over for Wentz.
Man, what is it? Okay, that's one. Name me another where you had to have a competent backup to win the Super Bowl. You got Earl Morrall when he came in for Bob Greasy with the 74 Dolphins
in the Super Bowl. Yep, that's what I'm about to say.
If you want to count Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe.
No, you can't count Brady because Brady played the whole season.
Okay, well then that's one. And then dude from when Carson Wentz got hurt, what's his name? And I don't know why I can't think of his name either. That's 2. That's 2. You know, there have been Super Bowls. How many Super Bowls have there been, Rodney? 55. So that means you name me 2 out of 55 Super Bowls where somebody's needed a competent backup. So no, you don't need a competent backup. No, you do not.
So okay,
yeah,
This is the year that you will.
This is the year that you will.
This year. Okay, Mr. Leo.
Let's go with the predictions again.
Listen, the Jets, the whole everybody from around the Jets went into the season Super Bowl or bust, right? If that's what you're gonna do, if you got a 25-year-old quarterback,
they thought they were gonna have Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah, I saw the Hard Knocks, and boy, they were like banking the season that he was going to be the savior of the franchise.
Yeah, understandable. But when you have a 39-year-old quarterback who has been hurt the last couple of years himself, you need a backup. And they basically went into the season without a backup. You can put a receiver at the quarterback position right now, and they'll do a better job than Zach Wilson. So. Again, and they should have had a better backup quarterback than Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson was you demoted him.
Need one. When the last time they didn't think they would need one, they were trying to groom Zach Wilson. When the last time Aaron Rodgers been hurt like that?
Last year,
the whole season. That he missed the whole season.
3 years ago, before he had his little his run with the MVPs. It was like 3 years ago. But that's not the thing is, this is the problem. This is the problem with Zach Wilson. You demoted Zach Wilson to your third string quarterback last year. That's the point. You know he sucked. Why would you even keep him and not get a better quarterback and not have a better quarterback as your backup?
Because the same reason that every other team does it, because they drafted this dude number 2. And they don't want to lose out. They don't want to lose out on that investment. They thought Aaron Rodgers was going to come in and play. They win some Super Bowls, go to the playoffs, win a Super Bowl, go to a AFC Championship or whatever, and then he would pass the mantle to Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson would get much better. They were not expecting for Zach Wilson to play.
They bet the house on Aaron Rodgers
on the bench. And get better in practice. So no, he's not any better. No, he's not any better than he was last year because he never got a chance to get any tutelage. He didn't play in the preseason. I mean, he played in the preseason or whatever, but all of the number 1 snaps have been going to Aaron Rodgers. This dude was not expecting to play. Remember, he got hurt Aaron Rodgers got hurt the first game of the season. So yeah, Zach Wilson is still the same sucky quarterback he was last year. He never got a chance to do anything.
Sorry, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, so everything is banking on Aaron Rodgers. You couldn't get a comparable backup. And again, you don't need one. Every time you try to come up with something, I'm gonna say the same thing. No. So 2 out of 55 Super Bowls have you ever needed your backup in order to win the Super Bowl?
I ain't worried about the Super Bowl, but you're gonna need them during the season. Players get hurt. You might need them for 1 or 2 games during the season. And those 1 or 2 games might be the difference between you making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. Right now, these 1 or 2 games
let's go back to my earlier question. Let's go back to my earlier question. Name me a team.
Hold on, you want me to? I'm about to go through
that needed a competent backup. Now I'm gonna give you a chance to do some research because I don't want to sit here all night waiting on you to find this information because it's gonna take a while. Because you can't think of none where you really needed your backup quarterback to really that this idea that you're coming up with this competent backup in order to be successful in the season.
You had the year when Danny White, when Staubach got hurt, and Danny White had to come in and play for a couple games. Staubach came back during the playoffs, and then we won the Super Bowl. I think that was 78.
Okay, so that's 3 out of 55.
Hold up.
Your percentage got better by 2 points.
No, we're gonna go with
6%.
Hold on. When did No, they didn't win the Super Bowl that year.
What was that?
Was that when did Doug Williams play the whole season?
Yeah.
He played the whole season? Okay.
Yeah, in 1987.
That wasn't the year. That wasn't the year that
he was Washington's starter. Yeah.
That wasn't the year that
it was Theismann.
Theismann
It was
got hurt.
Theismann in 82, Doug Williams in 87, and then Mark Rippon in 91.
All right. Who was it? Theismann in 82?
Yeah.
So that was the year. Yep, they won that Super Bowl then. So who was the backup quarterback?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, because Theismann got the job done. They beat my Dolphins. I remember that.
He got hurt in 82.
Talking about when Lawrence Taylor got it.
Yeah, no, they didn't go to Super Bowl. Yeah, that was 84. Yeah. 84, 85.
Yeah, that was gruesome.
Okay. Well, we ain't gonna take too much more time on that. But there's
my point exactly.
So next week when we come back, well, I didn't want to just have to go down list.
Maybe a month from now.
I'm going season by season, trying to figure out who got hurt doing what season, and they won the Super Bowl.
That was like Mortal Kombat there. Finish him, D.
Was when Baltimore was Trent Dilfer, was he there the whole year?
Yes,
he was. Okay.
And Trent Dilfer was Baltimore's quarterback when they won the Super Bowl, was he?
I thought he did win one with Baltimore.
Oh, that's right. They won the second one with Flacco. Never mind.
Yeah, didn't they win too?
Yeah. That's what I said. I was thinking Flacco for both of them. But yeah. So anyway.
Well, whatever it is. We on this too long.
Moving right along.
Doing wrong. Everybody know doing wrong. It won't stop. Oh, there you go. But what's not wrong is the fan reaction that this girl got in Kansas City over the weekend. Taylor Swift made a surprise visit to Arrowhead Stadium this past weekend to watch the game between the Kansas City Chiefs and who they play? The Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears.
They whooped them bad.
They got them.
It was horrible. But the game wasn't even important because everybody was paying attention to everything that Taylor Swift did. She's sat up in the booth with Travis Kelce, her mother, in Travis Kelce's
with that
booth,
family, yeah,
with the family. The funniest thing about that whole little thing, they kept going back to show the booth where Taylor Swift and his mother were. But there's a brother sitting next to Taylor Swift that was the most excited person in the whole stadium. Every time you see him, he jumping up and down, banging on the glass, looking all dude. Crazy. Yeah, the black dude, I'm like, looking all crazy. Like, man, where you coming from? But anyway, but I can care less if Taylor Swift and
me either.
And
I don't care either.
Yeah, I can care less if they're dating. It doesn't matter one way or the other to me. But the thing I found most hilarious about this whole situation is that Travis Kelce is now the number 2 selling jersey in all of the NFL because of Taylor Swift. That was crazy to me.
That's it. Yeah, and that's the thing, Rod, is I'm with you. I do not care. Matter of fact, it absolutely bothers the hell out of me that the fact that she was at the game has overshadowed everything else, and they're making it seem like her coming to this game was just the greatest thing for the NFL. No, I mean, all it did was bring, Swifties or whatever, her fans or whatever, to watch that particular game and that kind of thing. And then of course now social media, all of a sudden, all of the fodder is the rumors of them being together and all of this kind of stuff, right? So I really hate the sensationalism of it that is taking it away from the actual sport and the game. I mean, yeah, it's cute and all of that for a while. But it's like they're really trying to make it seem as if her presence at the game, as if it just boosted all of this viewership of of the NFL and all this kind of stuff. And I just kind of hate that about it or whatever. But the fact that she was there was very interesting, because you ain't never heard of Taylor Swift going to a football game. So it's like, why are you really there? You know what I mean? So it's just like it was all about the PR, all about the social media. Like I saw this thing, they were talking to Jared Payton, and he got some video of them walking out, and he was just like, oh, I didn't know I had the best video of all. I was just standing there waiting, and then I said, okay, they're going to come around the corner, I'm going to get them. And they came around the corner, and it wasn't like they came around the corner holding hands and like that. Like he came around the corner with his arm around her. They were literally just walking side by side out of the thing. It was like, really, all you did was get them walking out. Is it really that big of a deal? So yeah.
So on Yahoo Sports, they say that the sale of Kelce jerseys increased 400% from since Sunday. They sold 400%.
All the Swifties bought it, huh?
Yeah, right. All the Swifties bought it.
They bought them. All the Swifties bought them swiftly.
Now we do have to be very careful, because
not to offend the Swifties.
we can't offend the Swifties, because they can cancel us. We love y'all.
Just like
hey,
like the
we love the Beehive.
If all the Swifties want to become followers, hey, let's do it. Let's do it.
Matter of fact, D, could you sing us a verse of one of Taylor's songs?
I can't even tell you what song she sings.
Don't say that, right? Don't say that.
Oh, my bad.
We know we hoarse. We hoarse right now. That's all. We would sing it, but we want to sing it.
What it did do though, and what made why the NFL is really happy about this, it made that horrible game something to watch. They had something to talk about other than the fact that Chicago couldn't gain 5 yards in offense.
That the little Bears were getting spanked.
The Cubbies.
Oh, they took him out into the woodshed and spanked him. Spanked. Another game that occurred on Sunday.
Speaking of a spanking,
another
Going out to the bullshit.
Oh my Lord.
Yes.
This game. Well, first off, let me say it like this. The Miami Dolphins won the game. They scored 70 points in an NFL game. 70 points, which is almost unheard of. It's only the fourth time ever that a team has scored 70 points or more in a football game. But
it's a good thing the game was only 60 minutes.
The Broncos were, but here's the thing. They scored 70 points, but had the ball at the 20 with 8 minutes to go and kneeled down to get a ball back to Denver. They didn't want to score. They could have gotten the record. The record is 74 points. They could have gotten the record, but they didn't want to. They took a knee with 8 minutes to go to give the ball back to Denver so they wouldn't score. They didn't break the record. If that's not the most humiliating thing for a football team ever, I don't know what is. But first, I want to give props to the Miami Dolphins, who have one of the most entertaining offenses I've seen since the Greatest Show
on Turf. Yeah.
But Jalen Waddle hurt now, though. So
yeah, Waddle's hurt.
Man, but bro, even with Waddle hurt, they still got burners all over the place.
Oh yeah. You still
Raheem Mostert. I did not realize Raheem Mostert was that fast.
Mostert, yeah.
And he went to
I did not know he was that fast.
A Chan.
Bro, everybody, you name them, they out there just the freaking tight end was outrunning the whole team.
Yeah.
So props to the Dolphins, man, bro. That was a wonderful offensive display.
Dolphins got
now. Let's get to the flip side.
Oh yeah.
Now let's get to the flip side, bruh. The Denver Broncos, and I was talking to D about this. D about this earlier.
Russell Wilson.
Sean Payton. The first thing he did, well, one of the first things he did was when he got there talking about how horrible the coaching was last year. You know, he degraded the previous head coach, you know, talked about, you know, how the team was run, blah, blah, blah. But that team never got beat by 50 points and didn't allow a team to score 70 points on them.
Sean Payton caught a classic case of foot and mouth disease.
Foot and mouth syndrome, man. It happens all the time. But you know, most of the blame for the Broncos' failings this year has been placed at the foot of your boy Russell Wilson. Now, I'm not a big Russell Wilson fan. Never have been, probably never will be. However, the failings of this team is not solely on Russell Westbrook. Russell Wilson.
It's definitely not on Russell Westbrook.
Right.
He didn't break it. So Doreen, who do you put the most blame? Who do you put the most blame on for the way the Denver Broncos are after these first 3 games?
So first thing I would wonder, the first question I would ask is how much turnover is on the roster? Because if you don't have a lot of turnover, well, this team is still the same team that sucked under the last coaching administration. So you bringing Sean Payton into a situation with a bunch of players who were already losers last year, and no amount of coaching.
They lost.
Well, they were. No amount of new coaching, or a brand new philosophy. Understand that at the same time that, you know, when you talk about blame, who you gonna blame it on? Well, the Hackett didn't even last the whole season. So these players, this is their third offensive system. in 2 years, right? So I think you got to give Sean Payton an opportunity to do something. I think I think you got to give Russell Wilson an opportunity to get, to see if he can get better in Sean Payton's offense. It's only been two to three games. He's only been with him a few months or whatever. So I think you got to give Russ an opportunity to adapt. So I think that I don't really want to lay blame on anybody right now other than the players that got that ass whooping and the defensive coordinator that couldn't seem to adjust to whatever it is that the Dolphins were doing. Or hell, the Dolphins might just be that good. We'll see as the season goes on.
They play Buffalo this week.
Yeah. So are they in Buffalo or in Miami?
In Buffalo.
Okay. Now that's gonna be interesting. Now, had it been December, that'd be real interesting. But we'll see how well they play up in Buffalo this week against a good defense, a much better defense, right? Than we saw out of Denver, which is interesting because Denver was a top 10 defense, wasn't they, last season?
But they traded away.
Even though they were terrible, they had a good defense last year. So I think
they traded away.
A lot of
Denver traded away Chubb and their cornerback.
Right, and that ain't on Sean Payton. So I think that a lot of it is on ownership at this particular point. I think that we can't really judge Sean Payton until we start getting into later in the season, and then of course into next season to really see if his new coaching philosophy and the new offense and the new defensive, all of that stuff is going to pay off. It's really kind of hard to judge them right now. If you think about the fact that they are a brand new defense with a brand new defensive coordinator learning a new system, they just happen to run into a juggernaut. Miami, they've been playing together 3 years. They've been playing together, what, 2 years, 3 years now in that offense?
Yeah.
So
this is third year. Third year.
Yeah. So they ran into a third year, a team where your top players have your quarterback, your receivers, tight end, running backs, offensive line have all been in this same system now for 3 years against a team that's only been in this system since training camp started in July? When did Sean Payton get hired? June or something like that. So again, for me, it's kind of hard to judge at this particular point. But I know dudes want to talk about his Dolphins. He ain't never had a chance. He ain't had a chance to talk about.
Yeah, I know we ain't been good in a long time. As a matter of fact, I started to bring out my Merino jersey from back in the day. It's a little, beat up right now.
Little tattered.
Yeah, reminds me of my Marx brothers and all the boys.
Right.
Remember Mr. Beach, all right?
Duper. No, I don't remember that, dude. I don't remember that.
With Tony Nathan and all those guys, Duper. Was it Reggie? Was it Roby?
Super Duper.
The kicker, the brother.
Kicker. Yeah, Reggie Roby.
The first brother I ever saw kicking football. And he would kick it like 80 yards.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Like he had one steroid leg.
So D, I was going the direction that you went with. When I first thought about it, I was thinking it was going to be. I was thinking more about Sean Payton, and it was mainly because he put his foot in his mouth. Yeah, but when you actually sit and look at it, the whole issue with this team is on ownership, because even Russell Westbrook's situation, ownership allowed him to do the things that he did last year.
Russell Wilson or Westbrook?
Listen, man, I'm gonna say Russ.
I hope Russell Westbrook don't catch you in the street.
Ownership allow Russell Wilson.
Keep my name out your mouth.
They allow Russell Wilson to do all the stuff that he did last year. Having his own office. What quarterbacks have an office at the stadium? I don't know what quarterbacks have no office at the stadium. What you need an office for? You got office hours where you got to talk to your running backs and your receivers. But they allowed that situation to fester like it did and to occur. It wasn't even the previous coach. I'm pretty sure he didn't want Russell to have his own little office, but ownership allowed him because they paid him. You know, they figured, shoot, we paid you $180 million guaranteed. You know, we'll let you do whatever you want to do. So they're the ones that
give a brother office.
they're the ones that gave him that contract. And it wasn't someone. I don't even think it was someone that the last coach wanted. I don't even know if he wanted Russ, but that's who they gave him. That's who he had to roll with. But ownership is the one that created this mess with the contract for Russell, even with the contract with Sean Payton. So now Sean Payton has a contract, his guaranteed also. So, but Payton, you got this contract, but you can't get rid of Russ. They're not going. The one thing they will not do. They're not going to cut Russell Wilson. They're not going to cut Russell Wilson. They're not going to cut him because they owe him too much money. If you cut him, man, you have to cut half the team just to get under the salary cap. So y'all need to figure it out, and you need to figure it out fast. But again, Broncos aside, you got the Jets that's dysfunctional. You got the Broncos that's dysfunctional. D, we didn't put it on the list, but man, we gotta talk about the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields throwing his coaches under the bus, basically saying that the reason he's playing so bad is because of coaching. Was that a good thing to say? We know the answer, but would you say that?
Probably not.
It wasn't a good thing to say. No, was it the truth? Who knows? But was it a good thing to say? No. But I don't know. But at the same time, I think sometimes we forget that they're not just talking.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't come and just start saying, "Oh, the coaching is doing this." Coach, he was asked a particular question, and he answered the question. So I think we got to remember that too. It wasn't like he just came out, he just found a reporter and started talking about the coaching. He was asked a specific question, and he answered a specific question about why I think it wasn't necessarily the idea of him playing poorly or anything of that nature. It had to do with his mechanics. Like he was playing robotic, or he wasn't getting out and running, and why wasn't he doing those kinds of things? And he was like, well, coaching, you know. So again, I kind of wonder also too if maybe his answer, and that's oftentimes what we have is we harp more on these athletes' answers instead of understanding that oftentimes they were asked a dumbass question. Or they were asked a really bad question by a reporter that they were answering. So
okay, so this week Chicago had that issue with Justin Fields, in his coaching answer, but they also had another issue with their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he quit.
He resigned. He said for health reasons. However, Adam Scheffler is reporting
they were making him sick.
He resigned because his house got raided by the feds.
Ooh, that'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. And that will make you sick also. So, but again, it goes to the dysfunction of the organization. Did they vet the new defensive coordinator before they hired him? You know, what was it? What really was going on with this dude?
We got to let the facts come out. We were just talking about this earlier.
Got to let the facts come out. Got to let the facts come out before we jump to conclusions. However, you would think that some of the defensive players would come out and show some form of support for him. Chicago's just trying to sweep this under the rug and not even talk about it. You don't have anybody on the team even mentioning the fact that you lost your defensive coordinator in the third game of the season. So who's going to call the defensive plays now? Eberflus is saying he's going to call the plays, the head coach, who is a defensive person. But if you're doing that, who's running the team now? It's real difficult to be the defensive coordinator and run the whole team. You know, you're making calls for the whole team. But, hey, more power to them. The Bears are dysfunctional. Who cares? I really don't care about the Bears. They can lose every game. it would make me happy either way. But that's our NFL. Other than the fact that I'm not gonna make my rant. I would rant, but it's getting a little late now.
What happened to the Cowboys? And we won't mention the Bengals, but we just talk about the Cowboys.
Dudes, we don't need to talk about the Cowboys. We don't need to talk about Cowboys.
We'll talk about them next week.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about them next week. You know, once they win this next game, we'll talk about the Cowboys. But this week, I can't. If I talk about the
Cowboy
Cowboys,
hat like Stephen A. He one of Stephen A. Cowboy hats.
But what we will talk about is the WNBA. WNBA, the first round of the playoffs are over. They're in the semifinals. But one of the thing I want to mention about the WNBA is from the Liberty. Let me find her information. Oh, where's she at? Dang it. Wow, I'm going brain dead on this woman's name.
Breanna Stewart.
Breanna Stewart has won her second WNBA MVP in her first season with the Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to give shout out to Breanna Stewart. Asia Wilson finished second.
Came in a close second.
Close second. And if she'd have won, I don't think anyone would have been upset because she had a great season also. Both teams, Breanna Stewart's Liberty finished second overall in the league. Asia Wilson's team finished first. And they had two great seasons. So whoever won, you wouldn't care. You know, it was good no matter how they did it. But what I am looking forward to, these semifinals, the Aces look like they're gonna, go ahead and do their thing. They're up 2 games to none.
They outmatched Dallas. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not even.
The Liberty going against the Sun. That's a horse of a what they say a bird of a different feather.
Different color. Horse of a different color. Did you say a horse of a different feather?
I said a bird.
Feathers, man.
I said a bird of a different
horse
feather.
of a different feather.
I was about to say a horse of a different color. That's a bird of a different feather. So anyway,
you got a horse. You talking about what you call it, Pegasus?
Anyway, the Sun and the Liberty are tied 1-1 in the best of 5. They're going to
what you eat? A piece of chicken?
Hey man, you want popcorn? Eating popcorn. So we're looking forward to the rest of the semifinals because WNBA game. I watched a lot more WNBA games this year than I have ever, really. And the WNBA game has evolved a lot from when it first started. The girls, the young ladies are way more athletic. The style of play, their style of play is kind of like the way that we used to play, in that everybody's moving, the ball is being passed around. It's not just bring the ball down and jack it up from 50. Although they do have a lot of players that will bring it down and jack it up from 50. NSQ. Stop jacking, dudes. Stop jacking. Dude's got issues, man. Dude's got issues. Dude's got issues, man. This is gonna be that Mel Tucker issue. This is the Mel Tucker episode, man. what is it, the 7 degrees separation? It'll always go back to Mel Tucker. Anyway, but congrats to the finalists, the 4 finalists for the semifinalists rather, and we look forward to the finals. In more basketball news, something that we didn't talk about that happened since our last episode is these brothers. The brothers from the U.S. World Cup team basketball. They didn't do so well. They didn't even medal this year. They actually lost to Canada in the bronze game. Who won? Was it Germany? Yeah, Germany won.
Yeah, Germany.
Dennis Schroeder. So, dudes, the question that we have on the board is, has the rest of the world caught up with the USA when it comes to basketball?
I think they're catching up, but I don't think they've caught up yet. They're getting there, but I don't think they've caught up yet. Certainly, it seems like the foreign teams have better big guys, better centers, low post players than we have. For some reason, in our country, we've kind of moved away from that, and we've all fallen in love with the 3-pointers, and
Thank you, Steph Curry.
Yeah, the big guys want to be Steph Curry as well, in our country. So, but I think they are catching up. Everybody points at how the Dream Team inspired most of the foreign players. I think Tony Parker and those guys. They mentioned at their Hall of Fame speeches, and Manu and even Dirk Nowitzki. And the foreign players certainly have gotten better. And it seems like it's an NBA player on all the foreign teams now. But I think I feel like we still have the best talent right now. Our style of play, and then the lack of continuity, I think, is what's hurting us the most right now. And then, like you said, some of our best players, of course, they don't participate in the World Games, but they do come and play in the Olympics. So I think that'll get us over. And like I said, we do need the continuity. When they started the what it was called, the Redeem Team and all that under Coach K, it's like they made agreement, and they all would come back each summer, or they stayed together for a while. That group, LeBron, D Wade, Kobe, and those guys, Chris Paul. And so they need something else like that, with our greatest players, and have that continuity and have them to play together, because these other countries, they've been playing together since they were teenagers. So, and we definitely know about that. We played together so long that we knew what the other person was thinking before they even thought it. We knew where somebody was going to go before they even went there, without even mentioning it or whatever. And it's you can't beat that. That's like a hidden bonus. So yeah, the other teams are catching up, but they haven't caught up yet. And that's my take.
Darwin?
It's funny because you basically took the words right out of my mouth. I can't say that they have caught up. Can I say that they're catching up? Oh, wait a minute, something just happened.
You broke it.
Okay. So I was fixing something on my monitor, and then all of a sudden everything went blank.
Yeah, you didn't catch up.
So no, I don't think that they've caught up yet.
Too much Beat Street.
I think that I think that the talent is getting better overseas, but I also think a big part of the problem is that the overseas game is different than the NBA game. And because of the fact that dudes were saying that they have big men, and we've gone away from that, we've gone to positionless basketball over here. That when they get in those games, in those FIBA games where you can goaltend, where you can get on the rim, where you need big men, they don't have it, and so they don't have anybody to play down. They don't have anybody that can play rough and tumble down low with the big men that they have. That's the same reason that they had so much trouble with the Joker in the NBA. They got a bunch of jokers over in European basketball. And then again, reiterating, what Dude said, the continuity. You don't have, those, and again, that was another point that Dudes took right out of my mouth in terms of those foreign players play together for years. The same guys
when they're
on the
kids
team play together for years. Where every 2 years or every 4 years, every time it's a FIBA World Cup, you got 12 new dudes. When the Olympics come, then you got 12 more new dudes that come in and want to play, and you don't have any continuity, and so they can't play with these teams that have been playing together for a long time. So I can't say necessarily that the talent has caught up, but the United States needs to understand, one, if we're going to go play internationally, that's a different game, and we need to choose players that can go play that kind of game internationally. But we think that all we need to do is get a bunch of Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatums and Steph Currys. If you put them all on the same team, then that's what's we just going to out talent everybody, and that's not necessarily the case when you playing that kind of a game.
So, and you know what else I was thinking, Rod? I mean, we were talking about, the big men, even if we brought our best big man, that would probably be who? Bam.
Right.
And he's probably like what the number
6'9",
6'7" big man.
6'8",
yeah,
6'9",
6'8" or 6'9". But I'm saying in terms of ranking, he might be what, like the number 6 or 7 best big man in the NBA, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, because
somewhere around there, yeah. Somewhere.
Well, you talking about big? Yeah.
You got Embiid, you got Jokic, you got
Giannis, you got
right, and none of them are from the USA.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
They all play on foreign teams.
Yeah. So yeah.
So
we don't really have any big man we can throw out there.
My thing is, it's not about the has the world caught up, because I don't feel that the world is even close, talent wise, to the U.S. players. The problem that I think that we have is that, is it even important to the U.S.? I don't think I think the only thing that's important is the Olympics, right? Every 4 years they'll get together and we'll put our best players together and go for the Olympics. But the
I think
other
LeBron and those guys are talking about going for it as well.
Exactly.
Too. So,
the other international competitions, we have our C team out there playing. There is in no disrespect to what's his name, Porter, the big man from Milwaukee. What's his name?
You talking about
Bobby Porter.
Bobby Porter. No disrespect to Bobby Porter, because he's an NBA player and
he's good. Yeah.
He's very good.
But
Bobby Porter is not one of the top 15 players in the NBA. If Bobby Porter is our big man, we got some problems, and that's the issue. The players, they're the ones that don't want to do this. And the thing is everybody talking about, they don't want to go there because they don't want to get hurt. Well, you playing basketball in the summertime anyway, in gyms with some people, with your boys from down the street. Yeah. You're doing it anyway. Why not go out there and show the world that the NBA still has the best talent playing basketball? So I don't
go out there and compete.
Go compete. The excuses that they give, it's vacation time, but you still playing basketball. You're doing the same. You're doing the same stuff, but you don't want to sacrifice your time. And I hate to be the one to say, you're getting paid X amount of dollars, but you are. You're allowed this livelihood. You're getting paid this huge amount of money to play the game of basketball. Go promote your business to the world, to show the world, hey, we still the greatest thing. And here's the thing: if you go out there and you win in these international competitions, the teams, the world will see that you are these great players, and you get even more sponsorships.
from China and all those other countries. Yeah,
all these other countries, because now you're being exposed to these other countries.
Yeah, your brand is global now.
Make a business decision. If you don't want to do it for the love of the game and for the love of the country, it's a business decision. Go out there and make that money with these countries that you would never, otherwise wouldn't make money in. You know, so that's my biggest issue. Now, I don't think the world caught up. I just don't think it's that important to most of the players right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, and now to the moment we've been waiting for all day long. We got to talk about this. It's all over the TV all day long, all summer long. Since your boy Damian Lillard decided he wanted to let the Portland Trailblazers know that, you know, after 11 years, 12 years, however long you've been in Portland, it was now time for a change and requested
he was ready to take his talents to Miami.
He wanted to take his talents to South Beach, man. He wanted to take his talents to South Beach. But something happened along the way.
During that trip,
it happened along the way.
His plane got diverted.
Was all we had.
In the surprise of all surprises, your boy Dame Lillard got traded to the Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks.
It's gonna be a cold winter.
It's a little different weather than Miami Beach.
Slightly.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But is it bad though? Because now the brother goes and plays with one of the top 3 players in the world in Giannis Antetokounmpo. I almost messed that up.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was pretty good though.
But now, you know, he goes to play with Giannis. And we talked about this earlier, dudes. Where would you rank Milwaukee's team in the East right now?
Oh, I would definitely say I give them. Oh, that's close. I give them number 2. I can't go against my Celtics, so I guess I need to keep it that way. Yeah, but I think it's close. I think highly of Dame and his talents, and then of course Giannis and his heart. You know, he's always been a thorn in the side of the Celtics, and him now having Dame is that's going to be a tough one for us.
So, do you think is it that big of a difference between Dame and Drew Holiday?
Well, Drew is a great all-around player. I think he's an underrated offensive player, but
he's a better defender.
Exactly, but Dame can light that scoreboard up, and he's a lot better passer than a lot of people give him credit for. But you know, it's just the fact that he didn't really have the guns after McCollum left, so you know he kind of had to light up the scoreboards. But I believe he's going to be a good fit for Milwaukee. And then, like the resurgence, like I said earlier, of Brook Lopez, I think that meant a lot, you know, offensively and defensively for Brook. So,
Brook is a great defensive player.
He played great on offense this year too.
What say you, Wonder Mouse?
I think it makes Milwaukee the team to beat in the East. I think it makes them number 1. I think it makes them number 1. And I think it makes them number 1. I know dudes don't want to go against.
Yeah, I think that makes me unhappy.
I know dudes don't want to go against his Celtics, but if we go back to conversations that we've had, if we rewind the tape, like Microwave said, and go look at tape, we can talk about all these times we talked about the issues that the Celtics had and why the Celtics couldn't win and so on and so forth. And a big part of that we talked, right. A big part of that we talked about was you know, with Tatum and Brown not being able to kind of decide who was going to be Batman and who was going to be Robin, however you want to put it. I think with adding Dame to the Bucks, it gives you, even though I hate to use this, you know, this term or whatever, but it gives you a legitimate big 3. Drew Holiday was a great defensive player, but Drew Holiday wasn't a dependable scorer. Dame is a dependable scorer. Again, you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose something defensively. But what you lose defensively, where you could put Drew Holiday on the other team's best player, whether he was a 2 guard or whether he was a 2 or the 3, you could put Drew Holiday on that player. You can't do that with Dame. But I think the firepower that Dame brings, the consistent scoring that Dame brings, the ability for Dame to consistently put up 25, 30 points. And I think that he's going to take a lot of the pressure off Giannis. We saw Giannis do what? We saw Giannis try to become a 3-point shooter. And it took away from other points of his game. Yeah, it added a little bit to his game, but I mean, how many of us really were going to
want to see
about Giannis out there shooting threes?
Yeah, respect his 3-point.
We're gonna let him shoot that all day. Now he doesn't have to worry about doing that. Now he can go play the way he's been playing. He can be aggressive. He can play downhill. He can play down low. He can get rebounds. He can do all of those things because now he's got Dame to take that offensive pressure off him. You don't have to
use that training that Akeem just gave him.
Yeah, exactly. So with Middleton, and then you didn't lose anybody else. That's why the question I asked Rodney when you said that they traded for him, I said, who did they lose? And they lost Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen.
Mm-hmm.
So the points per game that Grayson Allen and Drew Holiday had, Dame makes up for that immediately. So for me, it puts the Bucks clearly number 1, and Philly. Nah, well.
What about the Knicks? You didn't say the Knicks.
We're gonna talk about the Knicks. So
let's not.
Why? Because they're gonna be the 6th or 7th best team in the league.
No, we 3. We 3, bro. So here's the thing.
You sound like Sadia now. You can only count to 3, so that's why you said the Knicks 3rd.
Man, no.
1, 2, 3.
We have the 3rd best team in the East. Look, but let me go back.
In East what? Eastern Europe?
Yeah, in Eastern New York. Eastern New York.
Earlier today, I said that
the Lord spoke to
Boston had the best team in the East.
Thank you,
because Boston they got White, they got Brogdon, they got Brown and Tatum, and they also got Porzingis with Horford still there, even though he's long in the tooth, but he
looked rough in the finals.
And they still got Williams, and still got Williams in the paint when he can actually play. And they still have a couple of other. They got like Peyton. What's the little white boy named Peyton?
Pritchard. Yeah.
Something Peyton.
Peyton Pritchard.
Peyton Pritchard. Anyway, they got him on the bench, so they have a pretty real good team. But the more I thought about it, and Dorian actually pushed me this way, I do think Dame on Milwaukee will put them at the top of the East because.
No, Rod, come on now, stay with me, man. Don't follow D.
No. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing, dudes. With like you said, Giannis doesn't have to. He doesn't have to stay at the 3-point line anymore. He can go down there and he can kill. And the thing is, you can't leave him in the post by himself. You're gonna have to double him.
Yeah, because he got that $50,000 worth of training from Akeem.
Exactly. Akeem showed this man how to get them low post moves, so he can be balling. But
once you send Randall down there, right?
With them only losing Grayson Allen and Drew Holiday and some draft picks. Nobody care about the draft picks because they're gonna be low anyway. That's why I always fuss about draft picks. They're gonna be low anyway. If you get the best player, you're gonna have a low draft pick. You should. You better. But they'll find another player to replace Grayson Allen. That's nothing. And Dame offensively is way better. I mean, way better than Drew Holiday. And yes, you're giving up some stuff defensively, but the point difference between the defensive saves and the offensive gains is Dame still gives you more. And you still got Middleton, who when healthy, and that's going to be the biggest issue with Milwaukee, and that's their health. With Dame and Middleton and Lopez in the middle, if they can stay healthy, there's really not a whole lot that you can do to stop them, because that's one of those things that you pick your poison thing, and that's a dangerous choice. Then you got Boston. You know, I went through their stuff. Their biggest issue is they don't really have that table setting point guard like they had with Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart was the leader of that crew, but they got Porzingis, something they never had, a low post scorer that can go out to the 3 and shoot. So they'll get the second pick, and after that, you got my Knicks, man. My Knicks are third. You got. Right, listen.
How did that happen?
Listen, we got the third best roster in the East. You have to give it to us. We got Brunson. We got
I forgot who's on their roster. You said they're the third best.
Man, we
roster.
got everybody, bro. We
they
got
must
Brunson.
have changed it. Must have had a rehaul.
We got RJ. We got unfortunately, I gotta say we got Randall. But anyway, Randall still he was a second team all NBA player. So even though I fussed about him, the brother got skills. We got Mitchell Robinson in the middle. You got DiVincenzo and Jason Hart, and you got Quickly, and we got Grimes. So we got a litany of players that can come out there and do some stuff. The question is, shut up, man. The question that we have is, will our coach ever change the offensive philosophy? And then you got Miami. You got the next person we're gonna talk about, and that's your boy James Harden in Philly, because he ain't going nowhere. Harden will be in Philly. And then you got Cleveland. So the East, like I said earlier, the East is no longer the least, man. The East has a lot of talent. And I think this is going to be the year that they take that championship back from the West. Oh, anybody got nothing to say? No comments?
We flabbergasted by that Knicks comment.
Because you know it's true. You know it's true. Girl,
you trying to figure out what you're drinking over there.
Right. And you chose the right song, Milli Vanilli, Imposters, to sing about the Knicks.
Yeah, know it's true. Come on now.
Wow.
Yeah, they got no referral because you know it's true. But all right, so our other favorite player to talk about, who Dame got traded, but this brother has not been traded, and that's your boy James Harden in Philly. Is it possible?
He's going to the Knicks.
Oh no. Is it possible for Harden to mend the fences and go back to Philly? Or would you go ahead and trade him to wherever you can just to get rid of that distraction?
Who did he piss off other than Daryl Morey?
Oh, Embiid, he done with him.
I mean, is Embiid?
But Embiid was kicking it with him. What were they at with Embiid? Oh, that was at the party.
It's nothing personal. It's just he probably upset about the whole back and forth and whether he want to be there or not, and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But that's an easy fence to mend if you're going to come play. That's all Embiid wants. Embiid, it ain't that Joel Embiid don't like Harden personally, from what I can tell. It's just that he wants him to make up his mind. Do you want to play here or do you not want to play here? Do you want to be here or not? I think that's Embiid's. I think that's Embiid's issue. The only person that he was really pissed off is really Daryl Morey, and so whether I think that fence is easily mended if he comes in and plays and they win, and then he don't really have to worry about his relationship with the GM. He has to worry about his relationship with his fellow players, and I don't know of any place where that relationship has been severed in any way.
Yeah, I agree with D. Winning is the best deodorant, so that would smooth everything over. I mean, I think Harden, he would be the only one that's, still hurt, and upset about the situation. I think Morey can get over it. He's called a liar. Okay. As long as the team's winning and he's making money, he'll be all right. Embiid, as long as the team's winning, and Harden's producing and helping him to succeed, then, he'd be okay. Right. But now Harden, what is he going to do? Is he going to hold out, or, what is he going to do?
That's the $50 million question. What is Harden going to do? He's already said that he doesn't want to play.
At this point with James Harden, to go back to my song, I don't care. I mean, he's really gotten on my nerves so bad that I really don't care anymore. You've tried everything. You've tried everything you can to get out of 3 situations that you said you wanted to go to.
Mm-hmm.
3.
So at this point, it's just like, dude, shut up and come play ball. Yeah. That's what I want to see. I want to see you come play ball, and I want to see you not nut up when we need you, when your team needs you the most. Do that for me.
Because he's already shown that he's not going to be happy in no situation. Right. Every place like you said, he wanted to go, he wasn't happy. He was unhappy. Then he, found a way to get himself traded. He put his fat suit on or whatever.
Right.
A couple of us got the fat suit on now, but I won't bring that up. And but yeah, he found a way to leave every situation. He quit on his team.
Right.
We saw this offseason that there was no market for him because of all his antics and the things he done. So I think the best thing for him to do is stay in Philly and win, try to smooth everything over, and then maybe he could move on after that. But his reputation needs an overhaul.
And that was the reason why he didn't opt out of his contract, because he knew there was no market for him. Teams were not lining up at his door, trying to get him to come play for them, and he knew that. So that was the reason why he opted into his contract and kept that money. He could have gone to any team he wanted to, but he chose not to because he wanted the money. And I have no sympathy for him, man. Hey, this is the bed that you made. This is the one you lie in. And at the end of the day, Philly don't have to do nothing. They don't have to do anything. You under contract, you can show up and play, and we can try to win the championship. Or you can not show up, not get paid, and look stupid sitting on the sideline. So that's where he is, and that's where he's gonna be, because I don't think Philly gonna trade him. Because there's no team out there that wants to give up the assets to get James Harden. If James Harden was a free agent, okay, maybe I'll sign you as a free agent, but I'm not going to give up assets and then give you a big contract. Also, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, just to have you quit on us, no.
And have you disappear in the playoffs. That's the main thing. Never have you shown up in the playoffs. So, and I'm not paying for that.
But he showed up at the strip club.
James Harden, never have I ever showed up in the playoffs.
He showed up at a strip club in Houston in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, he'll show up there. All right, D. The Atlanta Braves beat the Chicago Cubs tonight. So your boys move up. They're a game and a half back now.
Okay. I was going to say, what the hell was that?
I got scared.
Right. I was like, what happened? You just completely.
You only game and a half back now, man.
Okay. All right. Well,
I thought it was another uprising at the Capitol or something.
Right. Right. We need to see them win, lose 3 more games, and then we good. But the Reds got to win too. So we shall.
The Reds got to win, man. Reds got to win. So that's one of the topics we'll talk about. My bad.
What the heck was that?
Hey, y'all, we still trying to get the bugs out for being gone so long.
We need to hire somebody for that.
But the MLB playoffs, we'll be talking about that next week. Next week we'll know who's in, who's out. Hopefully D ain't crying. He'll be on the sideline with us, hollering at me and the Cardinal fans. But we want to thank y'all for continuing to watch us.
Please come back. We hope.
Come on back. Come on back.
Come on back.
Come back to our page. What's old is what's new.
We love
want you
food.
to join us.
Sports is our specialty.
We're waiting for you.
Come
on, D.
St. Louis.
The fact that you even remember that damn song is
Hey. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But again,
was he trying to do his Jamaican accent?
No, I didn't try that.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't gonna disrespect the Jamaicans.
Right. Bring on for that.
I need the Jamaicans to be subscribers also. So speaking of which, y'all go ahead, like us, subscribe, get the notification bell. What else we gotta do?
Send us some money.
Dudes always want the money. Send the dudes the money.
Send us some money. Yeah, we take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. But all the things you need to do on social media, do it, because we own everything. We own all the different platforms. Wherever you want to go, you can find us. Tell your peoples, look for us, and we'll be mindful to always give you everything we got. We're gonna stop talking about little what's his name? Little Mel. We ain't gonna talk about Little Mel no more. Yeah, we will. Dude's gonna bring him up again. But again, thank y'all. We've been away for so long, but we're glad to be back. For all of y'all that enjoyed what we had to say tonight, thank you. All y'all that didn't, kiss it. And we out.